I thought we would have a little fireside chat today. In Alabama, we have been fortunate enough that it's still been cold. Some people would say that's not fortunate, Teresa. But I like staying in when it's cold. I like, to be able to crochet and to knit and snuggle. And I like, for my body type, I look better in sweats and big sweaters. And so I enjoy the cold weather. For a while, but I guess what I mean by that is I enjoy staying in. So, I thought we would do a little fireside chat, even though my fire is not real. It is a real heater, it could keep warm, but it's not a real fire, obviously. But I thought it was a nice, cozy setting for us to talk about the things that we're gonna talk about today. And so, I've got my tea. I'm drinking English rose, which is delicious. It's really good. But this is just gonna be a laid back, relaxed, calm chat because I kinda disappeared, not kinda, I disappeared for over a year, from YouTube, and I feel like I owe you an explanation. And so that's what this video is gonna be. Before we jump into anything new, I feel like it's, important that I tell you where I've been, what happened, and where I'm going. But I think it's, appropriate that I explain myself a little bit. And so if you're new here, welcome. Hello. Everybody goes through different seasons of life. And so today we're going to be wrapping up my past season. And so that's kind of what this video is. But I welcome you to join. Come on in. Hey, grab yourself something comfy to sit in, something to drink, like I said, and not, yeah, so comfy to sit in is okay. But yeah, something to drink, work on a project, and join us as we have a little chat talking about where I've been for over a year and where we're going. It really is some good coffee. Okay, so we're going to talk about where I've been, and I want to tell you right off the bat that this is not going to be heavy. Well, hopefully not. It's not. I'm not going to go into the gory details, but I will do enough to hopefully explain, and so you have a good understanding of what I've been through, or what the past year has been with me all being off YouTube. But I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable or overshare. That's not my intention, and so that's just kind of upfront. Also, upfront, I wanna let you know, I'm in a good place now. I'm probably in the best place I've been, I don't wanna say in my life, but it kinda does feel that good. It's that transformational. And so I wanna relieve you right off the start to let you know that I'm okay, I'm good, I'm well, I'm great, borderline, might even say awesome, but, that might be me being a little too, enjoying my tea a little too much. But I am in a good place right now, and a lot of that is due to this absence that I've taken, and so, it's not all bad. It's been a journey, and I hope that I can explain that a little bit to you. So, what happened? Oh goodness. Well, I was kind of forced into taking a timeout, taking a break, um, through a few it's like several things happened, um, and I'm way comfortable, so I apologize if I seem too informal. I'm just in my living room, you know, so sitting on the floor by the fireplace, and, I'm comfortable in my own skin, and so I think I don't have to tell myself. If you ever watched my videos before, you'd always say, "Okay, breathe, Teresa, slow down." I don't have to tell myself to do that. I'm not as super critical, over everything I say and beating myself up for everything I didn't say and how I messed up and how I didn't look great. How does that, I'm at a better place just being me. And so, you may not, care for that, and I understand that, but that has been one of the results from taking a time out for a year, a little bit over a year, that was sort of forced. And so one of the main things that happened was I had been in, um, just gonna say it, a depression, from having, closed my yarn shop, and I never really addressed it. I just sort of said, "Okay, yeah, this is sad, but I see it needs to happen, and, I'm just gonna move on to the next thing." And so I just threw myself into YouTube for a year and just, like, put all my passions and everything into it, and I wasn't seeing what I thought was, growth, or I wasn't seeing the results of my work, so it was kinda, like, compiled on top of, um, having what I believe is failed at my yarn shop, and then failing at YouTube. It just kinda snowballed on top of me, but wasn't aware that I was really dealing with all that. I just thought I was, push through and keep going, and then, something happened, which I'm not gonna go into detail, because for a couple of reasons. One, it doesn't even matter what it was. Um, but two, everybody has their own things that bother them. Like everybody has their own experiences that would trigger them or um, scare them or worry them. And other people will be like, that is no big deal. And I want to honor myself that what happened, did scare me. It did trigger me. It did throw me into a state of um, flight, a freeze. I got frozen. I got stuck in a state of fright and flight, I guess, running from everything. But I have PTSD, and so, but over most of my life, I thought anyway, since I've developed it or had it, that I don't really let it dictate my life. There's certain things, yeah, I don't like loud noises, things like that. There's certain things that startle me. I startle easily. Um, Complications from having it or symptoms of having it, but I never really let it stop me. Like I'm gonna go, live my life, do my life. But anyway, something happened and it threw me into a state of as my counselor who has helped me for the last, over a year, um, understand is I just got stuck and I froze and I've been stuck in that. I was stuck in that. And in that, it caused me to have to step back from everything. And yet, in that quiet season, in that step back in the silence, I learned to slow down. I just learned to naturally breathe without having to tell myself. I just released all the anxiety that I was carrying for, is YouTube gonna is am I doing it? Am I gonna come up with projects? Am I representing well? Am I doing the yarn? Am I, making stuff? I was just in a state I wasn't enjoying it because I was in a state of panic over it. And in my state of having to stop and breathe and learn to take walks, I really got to enjoy my granddaughters, and I'm not gonna cry. I'm not. But I got to spend such a lovely amount of time with them that wasn't rushed. That wasn't, okay, I gotta do this, but I need to go shoot a video. Okay, I gotta do this, but I need to sit here and crochet while you're playing. I just was able to fully be present with them. And I can't I'll never, I'll never get that time back, and it was so precious. I'm so glad because, they're only those little ages for so many years, and so I was able to really just embrace being a Gigi, and I loved it. I loved it, and I thought, this is great. This is wonderful. Now, I acknowledge I come from a privileged situation where I don't have to go find a job, and my husband and I have a company called J Media, and so I can work from home. I help build websites. I'm not really good on the helping build websites part, but I'm good at the little stuff you tell me to do and the social media side and the organizing what jobs need to be done. Anyway, that kind of stuff. So I could still work from home and, so I was working from home and doing YouTube full time and trying to watch grandkids and trying, to be present with my family. But I had put all this pressure on myself that I had to succeed and that my level of success was gonna be that this YouTube channel taking off. That was my level of success. That was what I was waiting for. And when that wasn't happening in the state or the amount of time that I thought it should happen, I would put more pressure and continue to put more pressure on myself. And so I already said all that. You understand all that. So anyway, kind of threw me into a you must wait, you must take a time out because I was not able to um speak on camera. I was not able to function. I could function, I'll say that, but I wasn't able to be me or, do the things that I'd done before without feeling, um and this isn't part of the gory details I wanna get to. It's not gory details, but it's vulnerable a vulnerability-ness that if it serves, I don't mind sharing. If it will help someone to know, "Oh, that's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm going through. That's what that is," um, then I'll be glad to share it. And I might if there is anybody that's interested, I might do a video just about symptoms of PTSD and what that looks like on a you know, in a normal state and in a crisis state. And so, but for the sake of this video, I'll just let you understand a little bit. It was really hard for me to have clarity of thought. And so, I would just my thoughts would ramble, my thoughts would, because I was in a state of agitation, I was in a state of fear. And so, I also didn't wanna go anywhere. I didn't wanna leave my house unless my husband was with me. And so that, I was comfortable and fine as long as he went with me, but I didn't wanna go to the store by myself. I didn't wanna grocery shop. I just didn't wanna be out in public by myself because what happened was out in public. And so I stopped going to my fiber group, my fiber friends, my ladies, and I know they all think that I have just abandoned them and that I just turned the page and, I don't know what they think, to be honest. I hope they don't think either thing. This is the part where I'm gonna try not to cry because I love them dearly, and I'm so honored that they came to my shop and that the group was formed. Then I feel horrible that I have just dropped out on them, but at the same time, as much horrible as I felt, it was I couldn't conquer what I was going through even to go to the group. Like, to go to the group was tremendous, and I think I went twice in a year. I know. They are completely, um vindicated or whatever. They are completely in the right with how they feel because with no explanation, just like you guys, I just dropped out. I just left. Um, but it wasn't hopefully you understand, it wasn't from a state of I've just moved on or I don't care about those people or I don't want anything to do with that, or I don't wanna do YouTube. And I don't honor, your attention and, the comments and the interaction with you. I do. I loved all that. Uh, but I just couldn't. And so, I had to take a breather, and in that space let's turn the page. So I because I think you fully understand where I've been, where my heart's been, and that, I didn't abandon any of you, the fiber of people in person or you online. Excuse me. I didn't abandon you on purpose. I promise. I love you all. I love you dearly. Um, it's just that is unfortunate, but it was a season. Um, it was a chapter in my life, that was hard, but and that's where we're gonna take a sip. it was a hard chapter, but it got me into this space that I'm now. And so let's talk a little bit about where this channel's going, where I'm going. Um, as I said, I got to spend so much time with my granddaughters and really find my rhythm in being a Gigi. Now you got to realize, and if you're interested about blended families, I'll be glad to talk more about that in future videos. But I'm a I'm a blended family. Jeff and I are a blended family. So I'm a step Gigi, but in my heart, I'm full on Gigi. Like if you're a child of mine, if you're in if I call you one of mine, you are mine. I don't see um I don't see I'm getting uncomfortable. I don't see blood or, um, divisions of line. I just don't. I love openly. Um, so just like every person in my yarn shop, no matter who you were, where you were, Auburn fan, Alabama fan, liked, to use acrylic or only liked wool, I love you all. It's just that's how I am and how I operate. And so when it comes to my grandbabies, it's the same. So I have one that's from my child, and then I have one that's from my stepchild. But I see them as my grandchildren. And so when the step grandbaby was born, I don't even want to call her that 'cause she's not my step grandbaby, but I just do that for your clarification. When she was born, I instinctively walk in a room and then take a step back. It's like, this is my husband's grandchild. I want to honor everyone's position because I feel like I'm not gonna get, not preaching here, but it says in Proverbs, you know, I'm paraphrasing really badly, but the sentiment is that let the king call you up. Let people invite you to the table. Don't just automatically go in and sit down at the table and demand your place. And I really live by that. I think that that is a rule of thumb and way to be. And I think people honor that when they see that you're not forcing yourself. And so, anyway, I didn't want to force myself into, I'm, and I'm here. You as a baby. Let me move in with you. Let me take care of you as a baby. And I have, I just want to be a help. I didn't do that. I took a step back, which is completely opposite of my personality. And so I took a step back and sort of walked on tiptoes for quite a while, just trying to be respectful, trying to be honoring my position that I felt I had in the family. And um, then by having that time out, it allowed me to be more available. And the more available I was to my granddaughters, the more enriched my relationship became with them, the more I feel um, the kids, our mine and Jeff's kids, the more they understood my role in the family. And so I felt more like I didn't question my right to be there anymore, if that makes any sense. Like, I just walked in and I knew, okay, I have been in the trenches with this, child, and I have earned my right to say, grab her and say, "There's my baby," and for her to say, "Gigi," So I think that time allowed me to do that, and I don't believe I would have been able to do that if I had been still putting, um, my husband, J Media, the work, the YouTube, and then, doing the grandkids when I could. And so, I really think that that just solidified, and that's why I feel so in my bones, in my skin. I feel myself. I feel, more me than I've ever felt before. Okay, so I think that that is a good place for us to take another step. I think that's a good place for us to, now talk about where we're going. Um, what and I say we because I, of course, am gonna invite you along. in this next season of my life, this next chapter of my YouTube life. I'm certainly going to invite you along. And I want to say that if this isn't for you, if you don't want to go further, I understand. I get that. Like, I know that that is not what you signed up for. It may not be what you signed up for. I just realized I hadn't told you it yet. But uh, I still want to invite you. I still want you. I still will look for you. And I want to include you. And so when I prepare the things that I'm doing in the future, I do prepare with you in mind. Well, where can they find value in this? Or is there something here they might find entertaining? And so that is my promise to you that no matter where I'm going, if it doesn't look like something you want to do, I understand. I really do. I'm accepting that may be what happens. However, I invite you to come along. So let's talk about. So during this timeout, I have had the chance, as I said, to really go to counseling, heal myself, work on myself, find myself, love on my grandbabies, absolutely find myself as a step grandmother, as a grandmother, and just enjoy the heck out of my family. And also, my husband and I wrote a book. And so, and yeah, so you see that title, you're like, I got a divorce. Yes, it was not the book I wanted to write. If you were ever in the yarn shop, I was always sitting on the couch talking about being a writer. I want to be a writer. I started out as writing Christian fiction. That's what I wanted to do. I had all these stories in mind. And I've been a writer. So not published, but I've been a writer. So I started back in, oh gosh, 2000 and goodness, 13, I think, I started my first blog. So I've always writed these little things that I wanted to write a devotional for knitters and a devotional for crocheters. And so I just have this huge interest in writing, but there was this subject of divorce as a Christian that Jeff and I both lived through that just kept coming up, and it kept, you know, all these things you've learned and these little notes that you made and these huge stack of journals over 6 years of journals of processing it. And, it just was burning within me. Like, you've got to do something with this. You've got to help people. You've got to, um, get this out there for people like you because it wasn't there when you needed it. And so I didn't want to do it. I did not want to be on YouTube and talk about divorce. I didn't want to write a book on divorce. Like, I didn't want divorce to be my story, but it was. And so it was so Hmm. It was so burning inside of me and made me feel uncomfortable that I really felt, whether you believe in God or not, I do. And so this is my way of explaining it to you. But I just felt like God said, I'm not going to make anything else go in your life until you do this. And so anything else be successful, anything else, um, you know, Teresa, your level of success is not going to happen until you do what I've told you to do. And so I sort of did. Now that I think about it, definitely did. Back in, the Bible, Abraham and Sarah were gonna promise to have a child, and one day Sarah, she wasn't getting pregnant, and she was older, and so anyway, she came up with this plan for, her husband to have her handmaid, Hagar, and have a child that way. Maybe this is the way it's gonna be. Well, and that ended badly, so that was really short Bible story there. Paraphrased and all. But anyway, I kinda did a Sarah, and what I did was I created another YouTube channel called Teresa McKelvey, and I would do devotionals. And so I did a devotional series on the divorce and all the tips that I came up with and how to survive a divorce. And so I thought, okay, I'm being obedient. I'm putting this stuff out there in a short format for videos. Well, no. that was not what God wanted me to do. He wanted me to write a book and write it well and to take my time and to really speak to what the people that are out there that need this book, what they're going to need. And so I had to, I had time. And so I started I'd already written the book, let's just be honest. Over many years, I'd written and written, written, but I finally compiled and cleaned up and edited and sent it out to others so that they could read it, and then finally decided to self-publish. And so I get giddy about it because I'm holding a book. I'm holding a book that looks like a book you buy in a bookstore, and I know that I wrote it. So I get giddy about that. The subject is not giddy, but I mean, look at this, like the back of it. I mean, my husband knows how to make me look amazing. So he designed the cover, because he has such great graphic design experience because of J Media designs websites. And, he's like this marble background and it's like with a crack. And it's like, that's kinda what marriage is marble. It's this beautiful work of art, and then this crack comes through, which is divorce, which mars it, and it mars you. You feel, this is such a symbolic look, and I know that's probably not what he went for, but that's what I see, and that's what speaks to me when I go, that's how I feel, because 'cause I'll always have that mark of having been divorced, that scar, if you will, and so that is just a great representation. But anyway, we wrote this book. He won't let me put his name on the front, he won't let me say he's an author, but he did co-author. It's a whole lot of his fingerprints. Every tip was something that we walked through. And anyway, now I'm getting into a video about what the book is about. I could do one of those if you're interested. I'll be glad to break it down and tell you what it is and what it is not. But that was something that came out of that dark period, and yet is now in my new chapter is I'm an author. I'm a published author, self-published, but published. You can buy this book anywhere online, which is, Barnes& and Noble, Books A Million, like in Canada. I mean, I can't believe that because, I know I shouldn't be giddy about it, but of course, Amazon, um, but I am giddy about it because I truly believe it can help people. I truly believe that, and I truly never believed I could accomplish something like this. So that's a lot to be giddy about. And so now I have a website, teresamckelvey.com. I have I always had the website, but now it's an author website, and I have another YouTube channel called Author Teresa McKelvey. And it's going to be where I share stuff about this book, stuff about my next book I'm already working on. It's basically where I share my writings, and this journey that this life is going on, not life, but where this section's going. So with that, it gave me a lot of time to think also about this channel because, as you know, I am a crocheter. I'm a knitter. I like to quilt. I love crafts. That hasn't stopped. That's never gonna stop. I hope, I pray that I never lose the ability to crochet and knit because they are my stupidity. But they are also what I enjoy, like especially, being able to stay in and do a lot of crocheting and knitting, and yeah, I do it even now. I do it at the beach. I do it everywhere. So anyway, that is still a huge part of my life and will be, and a part that I plan on sharing on this channel. So this channel, if you've noticed, the name has changed to Tea Time with Teresa. And so, funny enough, while most of all of you know that I love tea, and so that is where I was thinking of the name. According to YouTube, and I think a lot of times I don't have a lot of street smarts or something because I didn't know like tea was spilling the tea, which means we're gonna get together and gossip or I'm gonna tell you the inside story. Listen, I will do that. I will tell you the inside track of anything that I know. But I don't know much about anything. So, hang on, I got myself choked. So I meant it as tea time with Teresa, meaning we're gonna grab some tea and we're going to have guests on and have someone come on and show us how to cook something because I'm not a cook. Have people come on and talk about their crafts, their hobbies. Um, and then there's always hopefully gonna be a segment where we go just a little bit deeper and we have those deeper conversations because as you can see, this is my wheelhouse. This is what I love to do. I love to go deep. I love to really get to know people. I love to really talk about things. I love to explore topics. And I'm all about a hard conversation. And so that's hard. I'm a hard person to be around because of that, because I want to know what's going on with you and I want to let's really talk about the bigger picture and what's happening. What does this mean? And so I'm not a small talk is something I have to force myself to do. I could do it, but it's not something I'm passionate and I don't want a whole lot of interactions, I just want 1 or 2 that are really deep. And so that's what this channel is gonna go to. This channel is gonna go to a place where, hopefully I can have deeper conversations with people and get to the real heart of why they do what they do and that's it, the heart of what they do and why they wrote a book and why they love to crochet and, what does that mean to them, leaving a legacy, and why do they knit, and why is the Sophie scarf so universally so popular, and, what's the deeper thing that we're all connected? I watched this lady on YouTube, and her name was I think it's Lulabelle, and the reason I did that because I didn't wanna say it wrong. But I watch her all the time, and she has a podcast, and so she comes on and talks about her, things that she's knitted, and she's a fabulous knitter, and so I can only do 1 or 2 things. She does so much, and I have so much, knitting envy. I wish hopefully someday I can get to that kinda level because she just does sweaters, and I think she calls them jumpers, but so much. Anyway, the point of that was she saw a lady on the bus, wearing a Sophie scarf, and she said she wanted to knock on the window and, it doesn't even know her, and I think, isn't that so that's how I feel about crochet and knitting. It really does, no pun intended or whatever, but it does knit us together as a community. You could go anywhere and have an instant conversation and have instant friends. I don't know of many things that has ever made me feel so connected with others than crochet and knitting. And that's the kind of stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about, oh, I got this lovely pattern and this is what I'm doing. And isn't it fun? And but I also want to talk about why it's so fun and what is how much fun it is for me to see my granddaughters run across the floor carrying a blanket that I made, or, a little top or a poncho because I like make ponchos. So that's what I want to do. I do want to talk about the royal. I want to be free to talk about and to share with you anything that's going on. And that's why the tagline is like, family, faith, life, and everything in between. I think I just ruined that tagline. But anyway, you get my point. Is I get excited. See, I get excited about it. But it's true. I feel like I'm being my most authentic self that I've ever been before. I'm just being me and being okay with that. Being okay that I've got lots of flaws and I don't say everything right. And I'm just trusting. I'm trusting that there's an audience there that wants to spend a little time with me, that wants to have their drink, have their project in front of them, and just spend a little time listening and hanging out with me and putting a comment down below, giving me ideas of other things to talk about. But it's not going to be just me sitting here talking. Hopefully, it's a lot of other people. And that's what I'm having to, figure out because I have a summer ahead of me of grandbabies, which I'm excited about, and then I have writing that I'm still doing on the side, and then I really want this tea time for Teresa to be something special, something you look forward to every Thursday? Yeah, I think we're doing it on Thursday. That you look forward to, you come, you sit down, and you go, "What is Teresa talking about today?" And it's kinda like an extension of walking into my yarn shop, and everybody'd sit on the couch, and we'd chat. And we'd have conversations about everything, and that's what I wanna do. I just wanna extend what was so magical about that. What happens in those Fiber Friday groups? What happens in those times when they meet together and everybody just starts laughing and talking and sharing, and then usually me will take it to another level, deeper level, then somebody will help us bring it back out, and that's what I wanna do. I wanna have just a little segment of deeper, but a whole lot more of just relaxing fun. So if that sounds like something you'd like to do, you'd like to be a part of, please come along. Subscribe to the channel, like it, share it, all those kind of things. See, it doesn't even feel awkward to me to say anymore because I genuinely feel like I'm offering you something. Now I'm going to cry, but of substance. I'm offering you me. I'm offering you the real me. So you're not going to get me trying really hard, which I always will try hard, but when you are operating in your wheelhouse, it comes natural. And I had to get 53 years old to find that out. When you are being you genuinely and just doing what comes from your heart, um, your inner beauty, your inner everything just comes together and it comes out and people can see it and they can feel it and they can know it. And I spent too many years, trying to be apologizing for showing up and trying to be like everyone else that I admired. And I would admire them and I'd be like, I just want to be like them. And that's not fair to them because they are them. They should have their authentic voice, just be theirs, not for Teresa to be a little chameleon trying to be them. And so this is me showing up as me and hoping to believe that you want to hang out with me and we will do this journey together. So long-winded video. I told you it would be one. I have no idea how long this video is, but I'm so glad to share this space with you. I invite you to come hang out more often. Hopefully, it'll be different. It won't be like this. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more polished. This was just a fireside chat, talking about closing out the chapter of the old the old way things used to be. I'm closing that chapter, closing down that season, and I'm walking into a fresh new season, and I would love to have you come along with me. All right, everyone, I'll see you hopefully next Thursday for Tea Time with Teresa. Bye.